Our All Indiana artist is an author, minister, inspirational spoken word artist, and motivational speaker. Those are just some of the hats Lex the Gentleman wears.
And at the core, Lex is just an ordinary man saved by a gracious God. Born in Indianapolis, Indiana, he found his voice at a young age through acting in church plays. Since then, he has performed for thousands across the country.
Yeah, now he's bringing his talents to the All Indiana stage. Welcome, Lex the Gentleman. Thank you so much for being here, man. This is awesome.
Thanks for having me.
Of course.
I know I joked around with him that he was color coordinating with his book cover there. No, so we kind of spoke on your journey a little bit, but how long have you been doing spoken word and poetry? How'd you get started in doing that?
So I started writing poetry when I was young. I really got into it when I was in high school. I wrote my first poem for my ex-girlfriend. It was called "To Love From Within."
Oh.
Yeah, and then, but I didn't really get into the spoken word part until I moved to New York. So I moved to New York, and I was going to a lot of the different poetry venues there, and I would just see the passion that the guys had when they would speak, you know, the ladies and gentlemen would have when they would speak. And I used to think to myself, like, man, what if somebody, you know, took that same passion and talked about the Lord, you know, and faith and things like that. And I got home and the Lord spoke to me and said, that's what I want you to do. And so I started writing, you know, poems about faith, about love, about hope, and went back to those same venues and spoke, and they loved it. And so that was really the start. That's where my whole style of poetry got developed, is when I moved to New York City.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You're holding a book there. Tell us about this book. What's it called, and how did this all come to be?
So the book is called Lost and Found, Poems Inspire the Fire Within. And this all came about, I reached a low point after the pandemic, a point where I was really lost. You know, I felt lost. And, you know, I just witnessed a lot, like my, you know, through the, over the pandemic, like my mother had a heart attack, and thank God she, you know, he brought her back to life, and she's doing well. And just had a lot of things going on, just kind of trying to find my place. And one thing I realized about when you feel lost is it's not that, you know, like when you lose your keys or your wallet, it's not that those things are lost, it's that they're just misplaced, right? And you just have to figure out where you place them. And that's how it was. Like I was at a point where I had to remember where I should be, you know, and that last place where I really felt at peace, right? And that was in the presence of God. And so by putting myself back in his presence, I found myself again. And that's where, and that happened like this year, that's when he revealed, hey, you should do, you know, write this book, finish what you started, and here it is.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I love that.
You definitely are a man on a mission. So what's next for Lex the Gentleman?
So what's next? Actually, this Saturday, I'll be hosting the poetry portion. The 8’s have an event called Art, Culture, and Appetizers, and at Hub and Spoke up north in Fishers. So I'll be hosting that event. And then also, I'm working on an audiobook. So for those audio lovers, you know, you'll be able to listen to the words instead of read them. And then starting next year, January of 2025, I will be starting a nonprofit called the Inspire Fire Foundation, where I'll be actually teaching people to write poetry, and at the end of the sessions, they'll have their own published poetry book.
That is amazing. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we are so thankful that you're here with us today, and we cannot wait to hear your spoken word. Lex the Gentleman, thank you so much. The floor is yours, my friend.
Thank you. I love you. No, really, I love you. And if you knew how much I love you, how much I think of you day and night, with a love that's based on action, a love that feels so right, if you only knew. If you only knew that you were always on my mind, and I prayed for this day that you would finally find my love. My love. A love that sticks closer than a brother. See, this love that I have is guaranteed to make you shudder like no other. I'm talking real love that make you want to steal love, that race home early to put your Faygo in the freezer so you can drink it chilled love. I'm talking that forever love, that heat during the cold weather love, that your cousin told me you were sick, so I DoorDash you some food just so you feel better love. I'm talking that agape love, that Adrian and Rocky love, that love that doesn't seek to get something from you, but loves to get something to you. See, some folk have said, I love you, but it was lust disguised to fool you, while all the while I knew you. And I see you. I see you with all your flaws, and baby, I still love you with them all. If you only knew. If you only knew that I live to love you, to hold you through the night, to rescue in the darkness and be your blanket of light. I want to love you through your hurt, love you through your sin. My love will give the reason for your heart to love again, with a love that's unconditional and more valuable than wealth, with the love that keeps on loving until you learn to love yourself. If you only knew how much I love you, others' opinions will be worthless. See, before they gave opinions, my love gave you purpose. And my love will never judge you, but will meet you at your need and loose the shackles of your minds. Your heart can now be freed to love. If you only knew the cost I paid. If you only knew the cost I paid to prove my love to you. Your response will be a life lived through me by a heart that's just as true. If you only knew how much I love you. With love so real, some say it's odd. You would open your heart and let me in to love you. Sincerely, God. That's that piece.
Yes, Lex the gentleman. Thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you.